KGL story, please welcome Simon Milroy.
Thank you, Julian, for that very warm welcome. I'm certainly very interested in the work that Amance is doing because we're also very interested in developing the north. So we're situated in the Northern Territory. We plan to produce a copper concentrate. We'll haul it about 250 kilometres by road, put it on the rail for export out through the port of Darwin. Now, there's a long history of mining out at Jervois. It was discovered in 1928, and it was mined in the 30s, the 50s, the 60s, and once again in the 80s. And what they did was they really ratted out the small, high-grade zones, 5 to 10% of the oxide copper. This was carted to Mount Isa and used as a flux in the smelter. And they've only mined to about 5 or 10 metres deep. What we're looking at, if you look at that whole exposed hill, that's roughly the 1% copper boundary. So that's the bellbird ore body. It's about 30 metres thick at surface. Now, these are shots from the 1930s. This Jervois mine was operated by Kurt Johansson. He was one of the true pioneers of Central Australia. Not only operating the mine, but he's also credited with the invention of the self-tracking road train. And he built this so he could haul his ore across to Mount Isa. So, and it's quite a feat because he cut the road to Mount Isa. It's about 500 kilometres straight through the desert, so quite an achievement. There's they've sort of never came back for the last load because there's a couple hundred of these drums sitting around full of copper ore. But what actually happened was Mount Isa found their own source of this copper carbonate for flux, so they no longer needed it. But he's a very enterprising fellow, so what he did was he then leached the copper and produced a copper sulfate crystal, which was then carted to Adelaide and used in the fertiliser industry. This it's a fascinating site. It's like a living museum out there because everything that's ever gone out there is still there because it basically doesn't rain and things don't rust away. So it's there's about 5 separate processing plants outside. This is the crystallisation plant. And these pictures here are from the 1980s. There was a small company started a lead mine and produced a lead concentrate, carted to Mount Isa once again, and this was the last activities out there. So the beauty of this is it is a disturbed site. It's got tailings dams, there's pits and everything everywhere. So that's actually the tennis court in the bottom right. We're planning on using the ROM wall you can see there. We'll put our crusher back where they had theirs. And that tank there it's a 2 million litre steel tank, and we've just recommissioned that and filled that up with water for our drilling program. So. Now, just onto a bit of the geology. This is we're looking down the south end of our lease. All of the known deposits are in this large J-shaped structure, and there's 2 types of mineralisation. We get these copper-silver ore bodies, which are hosted in magnetite, and you're looking at a magnetic image there. And the Bellbird deposit is you can see it's in a magnetic high. Just north of Bellbird, we've got one called Bellbird North, and that's a silver lead zinc deposit. It's hosted in calc-silicates, and you can see it's a magnetic low, so that they'll never meet, but it's quite likely that Bellbird will continue along that magnetic high to the north. Now, I appreciate you can't read this, but you can sort of, on the geology, you can see that J-shaped structure. The best thing about the past mining activity is that we have existing mining licences that still exist all along that J-shaped structure. And you can see the large square box is our exploration licence, which encompasses the whole thing. We purchased this project in May 2011. It didn't have a resource. Mount Isa mines were the last ones to do any serious exploration out there. And we calculated a resource. We've done 2 drilling programs since, and we're steadily building it. We've now got about 60% of the resources indicated. The current resource is 13.5 million tonnes. It's 1.3% copper, and it's about 26 grams per tonne silver. Now, we've just kicked off a 20,000 metre drilling program. We've got three rigs on site. 2 of them are multi-purpose. So we start off with RC drill collars, draw down to about 250 metres, and then put diamond tails on them to go through the ore body if it's a deep hole. It's a great time to be drilling. The drills are readily available, the costs are down, and it's just a great time to be doing it. So this exploration program we're working on, we're doing some pure exploration, following up some geophysical targets, and we're also doing some resource extension drilling, which will look to increase the size of the resource. This is a long section through one of the 4 ore bodies on the site, and these ore bodies they're vertical. It's typically 20 to 30 metres wide at the surface and pinches down to about 5 to 15 metres with depth. Those black dots are the pierce points of the drill holes where they intersect the vertical plane of the ore body. And it might look a little bit patchy, but it's not. The resource model you're looking at is purely a function of the drilling. And what I can say is these vertical ore bodies, we've never put a hole through that doesn't hit ore grade mineralisation. So it's the grid on that diagram's that's 100 metre. So the ore body's over 1 kilometre long. We've drilled it down to about 500 metres. Still going strong, and it seems to be getting high grade with depth. Now, I was on site Thursday last week, and we've just completed the hole shown on the diagram, and we hit some beautiful looking massive sulphides. There's a distinct copper zone and there's a distinct silver lead zinc zone. I've got a couple of samples with me on the table, so feel free to have a look. We don't have the assays on these yet. They're in the lab now, and we'll expect to get those out later in the week. Now, we've had very good correlation between geophysical surveys, particularly induced polarisation, and what we see here is the grey shape you can see is the known ore body at Marshall and Reward. So it holds about 9 million tonnes of ore, and there's almost perfect correlation between the known ore body and the 20 millivolt chargeability surface. That's great for finding new ore bodies, but what's really exciting about this image is there's this massive chargeability anomaly just off to the east of the known ore body. It has never been tested by drilling. It's about 2 kilometres long, and we've just put a couple of holes in which have just scraped the top of it. That they've shown it does contain copper, and we're certainly looking forward to getting some deeper diamond drilling into that structure. If you go down the south end of the J, once again you can see there's very good correlation between the 20 millivolt surface and the known ore body at Bellbird. And what we found there was that there's very large or very high chargeability anomalies to the south, and we've just poked a couple of holes down there, and we didn't drill the best bit of this anomaly. We just drilled to where we could easily get the drill, and we thought we'll test it out. If it looks good, we'll come back and we'll put some deeper drilling into it. But it was, we're really excited. Both of them hit high-grade copper. There was copper exposed at surface. The first hole was about 100 metres below surface, and the second hole is about 160 to 170 metres below surface. Some nice grades in it. So based on that, we're going ahead. We've mobilised a third rig to the site, and we're just kicking off a 12-hole program which will define a resource at this. Now, just to demonstrate the underexplored nature of this where we put these holes is about a 1 kilometre gap in the drill. That red dotted line you can see on there, that's actually the outcropping copper ore that has been mapped on surface for, it's well over 1 kilometre, and that's the structure we've tested with the drilling. You can just see that little green dot down the bottom there. So we'll get all of that done between now and Christmas. So we're midway through a pre-feasibility study. We're looking at a project where it'll be a copper flotation project producing between 20 and 30,000 tonnes per year of contained copper in concentrate. We've got gold, we've got lead, zinc. We also have cobalt, tungsten. So the only other slight complexity to the circuit is we're looking to run the tailings through a wet magnetic separator and separate out a magnetite concentrate. So that's it in summary. I'm not into the dot points, so apologies, these ones got past me, but we're very, very active. Pre-feasibility study some point early next year, and market cap is currently $12 million. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Another stunning story. Have we got any questions? We've got one hand straight up over here.